What's going on, guys? News Perspectives, Chelsea Football Channel. 2-0 Man City versus Chelsea on Super Sunday. Not the result we all were hoping for. Of course, we were hoping for a Chelsea good result, Chelsea point, maybe even Chelsea win. But I think that was over. If you think that maybe trying to get a win against the best team in the Premier League and almost the world, on the opening day of a new system, new players, almost exactly new team, it's kind of egregious. I think that um you had to have a optimistic outlook. I had an optimistic outlook going into this game. Of course, you're allowed to be optimistic, and well, of course, it didn't turn into the exact way that I wanted it to. Um, I thought there were points in the game where we looked dangerous. If you look at SofaScore and um, One Football, I think that you could see that the results were there. The attacking momentum I think it was a little mixed, but I also think that they had more. I mean, we had an over our expected goals were more than Man City in this one. Of course, from a few bad moments from Robert Sanchez and stuff. But we'll get into overall player performances in a second, and I'll give my ratings for those players in the game as well. But again, I'm not too upset by this result. I think you know, I'm actually quite positive. I think that we're showing the way that Maresca wants to play, even though it had almost nothing to do with the way he played with Leicester, almost the way he didn't play in preseason. He played more conventionally in like an actual system, like 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. It looked like almost today. I have it listed as that in the formation we'll be showing soon. Um, but yeah, he didn't do anything as we thought. Gusto was playing more as a conventional right back, and same with Cucurella. He was more of a normal fullback who was helping out in the back line as well, but he wasn't getting forward nearly as much as he was in the previous games. Um, we didn't look nearly as dangerous again as we did in the Inter Milan game. We obviously, like we said, we created those chances, but again, it's something about not having the striker. Nicholas Jackson, I mean, he was creating good runs and everything, but I just don't think that what he was doing was enough. The way that Holland literally was able just to pick, he literally had, I think, well, we'll look at it in a second, but he had three overall passes or something. I was looking at it before, and he scored. I mean, it's just about how you take your chances. And he is an excellent striker. He is an elite center forward at taking his chances and converting those chances. Nicholas Jackson, he had the chance. I mean, he scored an offside goal today, but everything else, it was a mixed bag today. He got subbed off early, I think, because of they were trying to nurse that ankle injury, and Mark Yu came back on, and he did exactly what we thought. He just kind of pressed and pressed and pressed, but that's about all he gave us in this one. We'll talk more about all the players and everything, um, in just a second. But I'm still very positive and very hopeful for this upcoming games. Of course, we'll hop more into next week's or this upcoming week's game, but let's get hop into this formation and stuff. This was the formation that I kind of gathered from. It was just a simple 4-2-3-1 in my eyes when I was looking at this formation. I mean, you see Rob Sanchez, Cucurella, Colwell, Fofana, Gusto. I selected the entire back defense correctly. Caicedo, Lavia, Nkunku, Fernandez, Palmer, Jackson. It was a strong lineup. In essence, it's a strong lineup. But I think a few players are playing out of position based off of based off of what we think out of this lineup and based off what we think we need to see out of this lineup. So let's start based off of player ratings and how they played in this game before I hop into what I think maybe for next game or maybe for what I think should have started in this game. I mean, I already gave my starting lineup for the previous game, but I think maybe an updated lineup would be good. So Sanchez, I think that in this game, he showed a lot of positives. In a way. I mean, not a lot of positives. I think that his shot stopping was pretty good. I think for the first goal, can see, he tries his best. Not too much he really could have done, I guess. Cucurella does kind of he puts it on the inside, but just the way that Holland is able to maneuver his body is just such a top tier striker. Sanchez does his best, but I just don't think it's good enough. The second goal is not good. He gets a weak hand onto it, and Kovacic gets a goal against his former team. Sanchez gets I think a 4.5 for this one. His passing was just not good enough. Again, like I said yesterday, I just don't know what they actually see from him in this system. It just doesn't ring, ball playing goalkeeper. I would like to see Jorgensen play on Thursday against Servette at home. I think that, it just makes it would make more sense for him to start on Thursday. So hopefully we'll see him and maybe we'll see more. But I think a 4.5 is pretty fair for Sanchez. I think Cucurella gets a 5. I think he was better, obviously. I don't think he was spectacular. He won a lot of his ground duels, I think, but again, not the most insane performance out of him. Again, he was Colin affected him strongly in this one. He was beaten, I think, a few times by Savinho, but it wasn't the worst performance from Cucurella today. I think if we hop into Colwell and Fofana, I think they each get an equal 5. I don't think they either of them were horrific. If we're gonna learn something, we need to, be faithful and hopefully put our praise into these two guys. Like we need to, prepare them for the upcoming season. I think that Maresca holds a lot of value in these two, Colwell and Fofana. I mean, I think that he's going to want them to become some kind of backline together. And I think that, with they're both insanely young. They have a lot of room to grow. So hopefully they'll be able to grow into one another and they'll be able to merge themselves as a good pairing. But right now they need to learn that pairing. And I think that with continuous playing time is the only way you could do that. Gusto played right back in this one, and I thought he was uh about a 4.5. I think that he got beat a few times. Doku was getting by him quite a bit. I was looking at it. Um, he was getting up. Obviously, he was more attacking than Cucurella in this one, so it was a little bit harder for him to play more defensively. But I don't think he was nearly as good. I don't think he was even converting many of his crosses during games. He didn't really look like himself. Hoping for a different player in the upcoming games, but this one definitely was not his best performance. I thought, there was a lot more he could have done in this game, but again, with a loss, there's only so much you can give guys. Lavia was my player of the game. He was incredible. I mean, I think he only missed one pass in this game. Absolutely perfection Lavia was in this one. You really can't ask for much more out of a player. I would give him an 8 out of 10. His passing was incredible. His defense was very good. He, as that holding midfielder, he does so much well. I think that, he's such a bright future, and against his former team, he definitely showed why, they would love to have him back. Caicedo, I think, was another 5 out of 10. He didn't do a lot bad, didn't do a lot good. There was a lot that I feel like him and Lavia could be a really good pairing. Maybe depending on if Caicedo and Lavia play together as a pivot, but I'm not sure if Maresca is going to want to play like that. Well, obviously, with more games, we'll find out how he's going to define this starting lineup. Again, like he said I think a week ago, he said he still doesn't know. There's no guaranteed starters. There's no one who's guaranteed a position. So you got to just try and play your way into that spot. But yeah, Caicedo was okay in this one. Played obviously some solid defense. Passed fine. But we hope for more out of a guy. I think he's still a little fatigued from his Copa America. Enzo Fernandez, I think people were, they were criticizing him more than they should have been. Again, I don't think he should be playing this high up the field. I just don't think it benefits him as a player. But I think that it was a 6 out of 10 performance. I don't think it was bad. His passing was still very good. He was passing the ball all over the field. His tackling was okay. Um, it wasn't the most amazing performance. I think that a few of his touches let him down a little bit. He wasn't he's not the most agile, speedy guy ever, but I think that his passing ability and his overall okay tackling were good enough for him to salvage an okay performance. Um, Nkunku on the left, I just don't think that's a position that Nkunku should be playing. I think that Nkunku should be in where I have Fernandez listed. I think it almost ruins Nkunku as a player to be playing on that left-hand side. For me, it just makes no sense. I think that, like he said himself, that he sees himself as the best through the middle. Nkunku is not a guy who likes to operate on the wings. It's just not who he is. So I think Nkunku, I mean, for the amount of time he had and everything before he got subbed off for Pedro Neto, I think that like a five is okay for him as well. Didn't do too much, didn't do anything great. Palmer, it's almost the same thing. He didn't really go inside as much as he usually does. A 5 out of 10 performance is about all I can give him as well. There wasn't anything too amazing, nothing too bad, but created those try to be good in passing attempts and everything, but again, I just didn't see enough out of him today. He tried to create some stuff playing against his former team. Um, you know, if we get those penalty attempts, he slots one in easy and he gets that rating a little bit higher for scoring the penalty, but he just doesn't because he doesn't get opportunity. Jackson gets a 4.5. I didn't see enough. I think that he his overall positioning isn't horrible as a striker. It's just the decision making and the finishing ability. He's not a natural nine. We need Victor Osimhen in here to take that spot to finish those chances that may not even be chances in our eyes in the first place. Jackson had one where he had the ball on the left hand side. He got a pass. He cut on his right foot, and instead of just taking that shot first time, his instinct was just to keep cutting in more. It's just not a natural. It's not a striker. That's not a guy who wants to finish the ball. That's just not how it is. If he right out there, he should cut it. He should shoot, and that's a goal. It's as simple as that. Um, and because it's not, we end up losing this game. Um, so overall, I think the guys off the bench didn't get enough time either to really get ratings. You maybe can give a 5 to. Pedro Neto, I think, was very decent looking on the left-hand side in his first start. I think that like a 5.5, 6 would be very fair. Got into good positions. Passing was okay, I think. And then it's very intriguing to see what he'll give us in future time. And then I don't think Renato Vega came on, and I don't think he got enough time to really even get himself a rating. I think it's fair to say he would get a nothing. I think he's not judgeable. But overall, it wasn't, a horrible game. We'd like to see more positives than negatives in this loss. There's 37 more Premier League games to go, 9 more months of soccer. Hopefully with bigger results, we'll be able to change some things around. Why I feel like we should be more positive, I feel like, there's a lot more going into this season. One game, it's still one game out of the 38. But we need to build on these performances. I feel like we will build on these performances. It's just going to take time. I think that these conference league games are also going to help. It's more game time to develop this style that Maresca wants to play and get the best out of his players. The players like him. The players like him. But we'll hopefully it'll all come together. Right now, Maresca is not giving the patience. The fans are anxious, of course, like they don't know what to think right now. But I'm giving him my time. I'm gonna give him my time until I don't think it's my time anymore. But right now, I'm gonna give him my time, and until I think not, we're gonna keep going. So, next game Thursday, I think 3 o'clock Eastern time for people in the United States. I think it's at 8, obviously, in the UK. It is at Stamford Bridge. But hopefully we'll be able to get a good result against a Swiss side Servette in the Europa Conference League. How the mighty have fallen, my goodness. Thank you very much for watching, guys, though. Quick recording. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.